Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensie Owl Bob. That's me. About to run, battery, I'm about to die. Interesting times we live in. All metaphors. And everyone's living them. Ooh, it's almost that kind of day. So I thought I walked out with my phone all charged up, but obviously not. Who knew, right? Put it this way. Ah. Oh, yeah, it's good. Coffee and hot chocolate. You can't, especially when you're in Switzerland. Yeah, 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 yeah. Donnie, he doesn't like the lady who runs Switzerland. Not a very nice person. Donnie, I was just talking to someone from another time warp, and I said, if you were to put Obama and Donnie next to each other, and down underneath them a list of everything they've done and said, right? And kind of push their image out of the way. So you didn't know who or what these two lists were. You knew they were presidents, and you knew that this is things they said and things they did. And what would be quite amazing is that Obama actually put more innocent people in jail. Obama sent more innocent people out of the country. What do you call that? Disposed, distinguished, disintegrated? I don't know. Um, Obama brought us to the surge, the 10-year surge of war. Um, yeah. And Donnie's going to do the same, but with a cherry on top. And that's why I love my Donnie Chump. It takes your average empire 300 to 500 years to collapse. Donnie's doing it in 10 months. Wee, I love this boy. Basically, all of the dynamics of like the deep state. What was the deep state? The deep state was nothing more than Chocolate City. What? Oh, I said it. I said it. What was Chocolate City? Chocolate City was smart black people who came up from the South who were highly educated. You ever seen that movie, The Django? And there's a scene, maybe 30, 40 minutes into the movie, the Django's been set free. He's with the German dentist. They're shooting white people and getting paid for it. And that was just a metaphor for the switch of what was going on with the black vote. So, that was the Second Amendment. Those two guys who were on horses and the black people all chained up. That was the Second Amendment. Anyway, uh, oh, those boys got Carhartts, and I'm wearing women's clothes. Women's shirt, women's scarf, women's pants. Ooh, baby, they feel so nice. Ooh. Does that make me anything other than the gender I am? No. Now, gender is kind of, ooh, right? But anyway, we go. I digress, and I only got 15 seconds of the show, and I don't want the show to disappear on a dead battery. So I gotta stay focused. So the Django's is this scene where you got a tight shot on this check, right? It says Candyland, right? And say, what the heck? Candyland is that place where you played as a kid, right? And you see this hand, right? And the most amazingly beautiful script letters. You look at my handwriting. You talk about chicken scratch. My chicken can write better than I can. That's why I need a keyboard. Anyway, so, and the check is made for $125,000. Now this is in before the Civil War. This is like 1840, right? He's writing this check, and then it pulls back, and there's who's ever that fancy, famous black actor who was in the movie Pulp Fiction. Not Robert. What's his name? Chuckles from Mr. Larry's class. You know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean, man? You know what I mean? Anyway, so, good day, good day. So, he pulls back and there's this black guy. And for the rest of the movie, this black guy was running this multi-zillion dollar empire. The owner, who was, what's his name, the guy from the Titanic movie, holding the girls' calves and wanting to go higher. Basically, that guy starts with a D, DeFresco, delinquent, I don't know. I never understood. He was a TV kid, and then he was a movie star, but he didn't play Home Alone. No. So anyway, that guy was the illiterate puddinhead who owned the big because he was white, right? And he had a French name, and he spoke English with that français. Well, he couldn't understand a word of French, right? Barely could understand a word of anything. Anyway, so that was Chocolate City. After the Civil War, all those guys, all those slaves, they weren't like the guys with the bullwhips keeping the slaves in mind. No, they were the people who were running it. People like my dad, he was Italian, so he was a black man, kind of. He married my mom, who was white, i.e. Irish and German. So I was really white. So I was the only white kid. I had blue eyes and real white skin and really beautiful, still do, kind of longish. And my mom always said, why does the hair on your head never get white, but your beard does? I said, well, Mom, if you look in the Bible, it says, guy with white beard, dark hair, smart guy. Anyway, and Picklehead, who's running the War Department now, he says no one can have a beard anymore. He doesn't know his Christianity too well because everyone, those guys, Moses, you name it, every single high, hippie, holy, priesty kind of person all had a beard. If you didn't have a beard, there was something wrong with you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, man? You know what I mean? So I wanted to go flipping through all my last shows, all 3,500 of them, but I don't have the time. The middle thing, I have 12% left. So anyway, I'll get to the jargon of the show. So Chocolate City was all these black people who were really smart, who ran the bureaucracy. When, guys like Woodrow Wilson, and he put up, had the federal government put up all those monuments to the Civil War white psychopath heroes and name army bases after them, the lost cause, that's what it was, lost cause. Basically, Civil War's lost cause, but they won, the government, right? So Woodrow Wilson, Democrat, Woodrow Wilson, worst president. Next one, Bill Clinton, Democrat, worst president. Jimmy Carter, he started the ball rolling. Woo. So anyway, it's all fun and games until somebody pokes your eye out with a stick. And Democrats, democracy, what does that mean in Greek? It means communism. It means crumbs for the people, wealth for the people, oligarch who are running it. That's what democracy really means. Go look that word up. In Greek. Go look it up. So what do you think, right? So here we are. Ooh, it's going to be fun. That's all I can tell you. Next 40 days to 100 days. Just if they start shooting out there in the Persian Gulf, we're going to lose a couple of aircraft carriers and a bunch of destroyers. We don't have to, you don't have, like the Gerald R. Ford. That's really the boat. Once I knew that boat was going to be named Gerald R. Ford, and then that their toilets are run like the Princess Line, meaning suction rather than water. That's when I knew that boat was not long, and it's so much it cost, $1 trillion. It's got 7,000 people on it, right? What a target. So they don't have to sink it to make it worthless, right? And we have all these aircraft carriers. We have, 20 aircraft carrier groups. That's like two big aircraft carriers, like 80 to 200 airplanes, plus about I don't know 6 HEs, destroyers. It's telling me the battery's going to die anytime soon. So 10%. So I got just moments to tell you this. So all you got to do is, as our chucklehead friend Donnie's guy, whatever his name is, flood the zone, flood the zone. So the Iranians shoot off 300 anti-ship missiles in one volley, and the Americans, shoot them down with the Patriots and this and that. The Iranians' drones and missiles cost about somewhere between $300 to $20,000 a pop, right? And the Patriot costs about $16 million a pop. We only have so many of those suckers, right? And we have versions of it on board those ships, so we only have a few hundred. So if they, in their first volley, shoot 300 at those, and those boats are right in the thing of Hormuz, they can't turn around, they can't, get out of there. They're like sitting friggin' ducks. So they do that, and then 20 minutes later, they send another 300, another 20 minutes, send another 300, another 20 minutes, and Israel can nuke, with a nuke, with a big N, Iran, and Iran will still be able to shoot volley after volley after volley of those missiles. And as they are shooting them at the naval resources, they're also going to be shooting them at all of the bases we have in Qatar and Saudi Arabia and all of those countries. And they're also going to go after the oil depots and pipelines that are in those countries, because they see it as a military, and it is. That's what Ukraine is doing to Russia, right? So it's what it is, right? So that means right now you can buy gasoline for $2.50 a gallon, right? It's going to go up to $1,000 a gallon to put gas in your car. You don't have a car. Anyway, so yeah, gonna be fun. And then, not only are they gonna shoot, even if Israel doesn't shoot a single anything at Iran, America does. They're going to shoot at Israel. They're told their little thing. Israel, please stop shooting us, you're killing us, we can't stop you, right? So they still haven't replaced the Iron Dome stuff that they lost, back in June. So, good luck for that. And the bombing that we did in April did flop. They pulled out their centrifuge, put them all over the place, took the uranium that had been enriched to about 70% and are sticking it in there to get it up to about 80-90% nuclear. You could take a chunk of plutonium, a chunk of uranium-235, going to hit with a hammer, boom! That's how sophisticated a nuclear weapon is. Well, we could lose about 40% of our total military capability if we do a little kerfuffle with the Iranians. And Israel, which is the size of a postage stamp. And that's why they want, all that land. They want Golan Heights, they want Gaza Strip, they want parts of Syria, they want parts of Iran, they want parts of Iraq, they want parts of Turkey. So, yeah. And Pakistan, who has a nuclear weapon, told Egypt if Israel ever got frisky with Turkey, they would lend them a couple of nuclear weapons. Now, we have no nuclear anything, treaties of anything. You can go hog wild. Right now, Russia and the United States China, roughly somewhere between 1,000 and 1,500 nuclear weapons. Now, those three countries start shooting at each other, only use 50 to 100 warheads. They'll kill everyone on Earth. But, like I said, it is not difficult to make a nuclear weapon. Anyway, I'd say there's maybe 50 countries that have the technical and industrial way of doing it, and the resources. Take them about 6 months. I'm one of those countries. Look at the poorest country on the planet, North Korea. Anyway, so the only way we're getting out of this is love's co-creation. That's the only way we're getting out of this. And God put it in our hands. Now, good old Steven Spielberg is coming out with a movie. I think it's going to come out on Easter. And it's called Disclosure, right? And it isn't going to be like E.T., or it isn't going to be like Close Encounters, or any of that kind of stuff. It's going to be a little scary, and also not quite, not like, Independence Day. Well, these guys are really bad. And coming up for your pizza? Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Yes.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. Didn't want to talk. Sinbad, that is going to eat 3 whole pieces of himself. But he should. I was there. Not even close to how bad I was. No. You know it's good when you lick the bowl. In France, if you don't lick the bowl, your chef comes and hits you. Why don't you not lick the bowl? No, that's German. That's how good it was. Okay. So, are you ready for that? Are you ready for some football? I mean, the only thing about the Super Bowl that was somewhat interesting was Big Bunny, or Bad Bunny? Bad Bunny. That was the interesting thing. Anyway, I'm going to split here. Good to see that there's one of you there and 2 thumbs up. Remember, subscribe, tell other people. Go watch all my other ones. I have 3,500 shows. That's like, whoa! And some of them get thousands of people that watch. Who knew? So, I gotta go. My phone really gets upset when I bail on not having it leave. Anyway, so you get the picture, right? Let's have a little. Father, hear our prayer. In these days, same as it ever was, please help us. You're the only thing, help me, thanks. First off, thanks, because I'm still alive. Thanks that I'm in the undisclosed location. Thanks that I didn't freeze to death in the deeps of the winter. Gonna come back, I know that. And thanks for me in a place where I won't freeze to death. And thanks for whatever happens, because like right now, every joint in my body is screaming. I'm like the human barometer. Whenever the weather is doing this, my poor little body is screaming. So that's kind of where it's at. Anyway, thank you for all of this, because basically my whole life has been this. I've always been sick. I've always been, behind the 8 ball, but it's always been the most amazing kind of thing. See the difference between this eye and this eye? This is the eye. This is the none eye. Good night. Okay, you got the picture. Okay, kids, love you. Talk to you tomorrow. This time I'll make sure I'm charged up. Charged up. You know what I mean, man? You know what I mean?